Hi guys, today we're going to learn about how to find the inverse of a function. I told you when we were doing composition that this would be coming, so we need to do it. So to find the inverse of a function, here are the steps of which you will need. This is something you might want to write in your notebook to have as a reference as we go forward. So the first step is to write the function in terms of x and y. So you look at it, and I would want this to read y equals 3x minus 2. So if it's written with an f of x, the first thing we'd want to do is change it just to read y equals 3x minus 2. That's the first step. The second step is to switch only the x and y. So I'm going to take this x and move it over here, and I'm going to take this y and just move it right where the x is. So this is now going to become x equals 3y minus 2. Again, notice how only the x and the y switched positions. We're then going to solve for y. All right? So that means I'm going to need to add 2 to both sides, and then I'm going to need to divide by 3. So let's do that. So let's add 2 to both sides. This now becomes x plus 2 equals 3y. Okay. The next thing would be to divide by 3, because again, I want y alone. And my equation becomes, let's go up here so I have some room, x plus 2 over 3 equals y. Notice how there's nothing else around the y, so y is alone. This is my inverse. So there's 2 ways you can write it. You now have the inverse and can be written as g of x equals, so we can do it that way. We can say g of x equals x plus 2 over 3. Or sometimes you see it written with a little hash up there, little hash mark up there. But this is the way we're going to be handling it right now. Just write it as g. Okay? So let's try this one. Pause the video, complete it, and start it when you want. Okay, so to do this one again, let's write it as y equals 2x plus 1. Let's switch the x and the y. So this now reads x equals 2y plus 1. Let's solve. Minus 1. Okay. X minus 1 equals 2y. Divide by 2. X minus 1 over 2 equals y. So you tell me g of x is going to equal x minus 1 over 2. All right. How are we doing with these? All right. So let's look at this one. I wanted to do an example like this because there's a squared in there. Rules don't change. First, write it. Y equals 5x squared minus 4. That's the first step. Second step was to switch the x and the y. So watch what happens. X comes out here. Oops, do this right. Equals 5y squared minus 4. Again, just the x and just the y switch. Nothing else around it. Okay, we're going to go about solving. So again, I want that y alone, so we're going to add 4 to both sides. That becomes x plus 4 equals 5y squared. We're going to divide, not by 2. We're going to divide by 5 on both sides. And you're going to tell me x plus 4 over 5 equals y squared. Now to solve for y, so y is alone, I'm going to take the square root of both sides. All right, so x plus 4 over 5, the whole big square root of that is what my inverse would be. So you tell me g of x equals x plus 4 over 5, and there's my square root. All right, so that's how we would find the inverse of that. Again, pause it, try this one. All right, so let's go over this again. Y equals negative 3x squared plus 5. Switch your x and y. Okay, we are then going to solve for y. Subtract 5 off. Okay, we're then going to divide by a -3 on both sides. Okay, we have y squared. Take the square root of both sides, and you tell me that there's a square root over there, so you would then tell me g, I don't know what I did, of x equals, okay? So that's just with a squared. So this one has a square root. So those were with a square. This one has a square root. So let's give this a shot. Again, rules don't change. Y equals square root of 4x minus 7 plus 3. Switch your x and y. Okay, we're now going to solve for y. So this might take a couple more steps. So we're going to subtract 3 off of both sides. That's going to give me x minus 3 equals the square root of 4y minus 7. And why did I subtract 3 off of both sides first? Because that 3 is not underneath the radical. So I need my radical alone so I can solve. So I moved my 3 over first. Now, to solve for this, because this is a square root, I would square it both sides. Now, if it was a cube root, we're going to cube it. Fourth root, we're going to raise it to the 4th power, and so on down the line. I'm not going to make you FOIL that out if you don't want to. We can kind of leave it alone for now. So this is going to be x minus 3 squared equals 4y minus 7, and continue to solve for y. So add 7 to both sides. X minus 3 squared plus 7 equals 4y. Can then divide by 4. Let's give myself a break line. So this is x minus 3 quantity squared plus 7 over 4 is going to give me y. So you can then tell me my inverse is exactly that. X minus 3 squared plus 7 over 4. All right, so you see how now we do it with a square root. Might take a couple more steps, but that's how we're going to handle it. So let's give this one a try. Pause it for a minute. Get the work done and then come back. Okay, so again, this is y equals 5 plus the square root of 3x minus 2. Again, please notice that 5 is on the outside. Okay, so this is what's underneath the radical. I want to get this piece alone. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm ahead of the game. Let's switch stuff up. So let's make this x equals 5 plus the square root of 3y minus 2. Now we want to get rid of that 5, okay? So now we're going to subtract 5 off of both sides. X minus 5 equals the square root of 3y minus 2. All right. Excuse me. Now we're going to square both sides. Get rid of that radical by squaring. That's a 2 there. Both sides. So this becomes x minus 5 quantity squared. That's going to equal 3y minus 2. We're going to add 2 to both sides. You're going to have x minus 5 quantity squared plus 2 equals 3y. Divide by 3. Let's do a break line. So this is x minus 5 quantity squared plus 2 over 3 equals y. So then my inverse, so g of x, is going to be exactly that. Now, some of you are going to ask, what if I FOILed this and added in the 2? Would I be wrong? The answer is no. You can do that. That is a viable answer. I'm just making life easy right now and just leaving it as the squared to see where it's coming from. Okay? And the last one for today, I just wanted to run through a cubed one with you. Rules don't change. It's going to be x. Notice how this one didn't start off with f of x. It's fine. X equals, this is the cube root of 2y plus 7. Again, x and y switch places. Now this time, because it's cubed, We're going to have to cube both sides to make it go away. So, oop, not a 2. That should be a 3 there, and we're going to cube this side. So we're going to have x cubed equals, and then it's 2y plus 7. Also, I could jump to that step right away because there was nothing else outside around that radical. There was nothing being added or subtracted or being multiplied out front. So now I just go about solving for y. So I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides. It's going to give me x cubed minus 7 equals 2y. We're going to divide by 2. That's going to give me x cubed minus 7 divided by 2 is y. So you're going to tell me my inverse is going to be exactly that. And we're done. If you have any questions, email me, jump into our Google Meet for the class. You can always ask questions then. Or there's ASA with me after school on Monday and Tuesday, or with Mr. Parks on Wednesdays and Thursday. All that information is in your Google Classroom. Have a great week, guys.